Hey, it's Johnny Gowdy with John Gowdy Electric. I'm just here at our little training facility that we have for our apprentices here at the shop, and I wanted to go over what the differences are between a regular circuit breaker and an arc fault circuit breaker. So if you've dealt with us in the past, you've probably accustomed to us giving you a good, better, best option when we're giving you a price to replace your electrical panel. So in the good option, you most likely find the replacement of your panel and all of the breakers with a normal, just miniature circuit breaker, which you see right here. But in the best option, we're going to include, instead of the normal miniature circuit breakers, we're going to have what's called an arc fault breaker. So I kind of wanted to just go over what the differences are. Okay, so what we have right here, this is a regular circuit breaker. So this is going to be what you find in your good option for an electric panel upgrade quote that we provide you. So a regular breaker just protects against overdraw. So for instance, this is a 20 amp breaker in this example, and this circuit and this breaker would trip if you exceed more than 2400 watts of draw on this circuit. So it's going to trip for that reason, and it would also trip if you had a dead short in the circuit or if the circuit got grounded out. So that's all a regular breaker does. The majority of houses in the United States, this is what they have in their panel. But a few years ago, the industry came out with what's called an arc fault breaker, which is what we have here on the right. So this one right here, it's a step up. It's kind of the Mac Daddy of circuit breakers. It has what's called circuit monitoring built into it. So what it's looking for and what it's monitoring is any arc that you have within this electrical circuit. So it's not only monitoring arcs that are within your electrical circuit that an electrician would install, but it's also going to be monitoring anything you plug into that circuit. So any kind of loose connection in, let's say, a duplex receptacle or a switch, a light fixture, a ceiling fan, anything that's arcing with any of those devices is going to trip this breaker. Now arcs, I'm sure as everyone knows, that's what starts an electrical fire. So you'll get arcing that's occurring somewhere within the electrical circuit, and that's what starts the fire. So this breaker does everything that a normal circuit breaker does, but it has the added function of tripping when it senses an arc throughout the electrical circuit. Examples of things that you would have plugged in that could be having a problem and it could have a loose connection within it and could start to arc would be things such as power strips, cell phone chargers, space heaters, really anything you have plugged into that circuit that has an arcing that's happening. This breaker is going to sense it and it's going to trip. So it's a much, much safer option. They are more expensive than a regular circuit breaker, but they do a very good job preventing electrical fire in houses. Okay, so we're going to take this one step further, and I'm going to show you an example of an electrical circuit that's arcing, and I'm going to show you how these breakers react differently to that arc. So right now, this is just our little training facility we have here at the shop. We have a heat lamp here for our load, and I'm going to create an arc here, which is going to simulate a loose connection in an electrical circuit. I'm going to show you how these breakers react differently to that. Please don't try this at home. I've got over 20 years of experience with electricity, so this is no big deal to me, but don't try this at home. So this is what happens with a loose electrical connection. So this, any kind of appliance that you have plugged in, or maybe you have a loose connection within your duplex receptacles, your switches, or light fixtures inside of your home, this is what happens when the connection gets loose, and this is how fires start. So right now, this circuit is connected to this normal circuit breaker. It's just a 20 amp, just a normal miniature circuit breaker. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that around, and I'm going to connect this circuit to the arc fault and let you see what happens with that. All right, so now I've switched this around. Now I have this circuit tied into our arc fault breaker, and we're gonna see what happens this time. So here we go. So our breaker trips when we have an arc, simulating any kind of arc we could have in the house. So with this other breaker here, that could be arcing all day long, and that breaker is just not going to trip. It's not going to prevent a fire with any type of loose connection. It's just going to continue to allow power to flow through that circuit until the either connection breaks and it disconnects the power, or a fire is started, and then it's just going to keep going. Where the arc fault breaker will detect that arcing and it'll shut it off. So I hope you liked that video. I'm going to try to start making some more of these videos for our customers, and just to kind of educate everyone on the different products that we use. And if we can be of any help, just give us a call at 301-609-9450, and I'll put a link to our website in the description.